until we meet again. Nicholas was on his way home from school, his backpack slung lazily over one shoulder, when he saw Mr. Smith standing alone at the corner of the street. The old man, who had always seemed full of life and energy, now looked worn and fragile, as if the weight of the world had settled onto his shoulders. Mr. Smith was 85, and it had only been a few months since his wife, Mrs. Smith, had passed away. Feeling a pang of sympathy, Nicholas crossed the street toward him. "Hi, Mr. Smith," he said softly, unsure how to begin. "Are you okay?" Mr. Smith looked up and offered a sad but grateful smile. "Oh, hello, Nicholas. I'm just remembering," he replied, his voice hoarse but filled with warmth. Nicholas nodded, sensing that the old man had something on his mind. "Want to sit and talk?" he offered, motioning to a nearby bench. They sat down, the fall breeze gently rustling the leaves around them. After a moment of silence, Mr. Smith began to speak. "I met my wife when we were in high school, you know. We were just teenagers, like you are now. She was the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen," Mr. Smith said, his eyes lighting up at the memory. "We fell in love fast, but life didn't make it easy. We went to different colleges and had to keep our relationship going long distance. That wasn't simple back then. No phones, no internet, just letters. But we made it work." Nicholas listened intently, hanging on to every word. "After we got married, life didn't suddenly become easier," Mr. Smith continued. "We struggled financially, scraping by with what little we had. And having kids? That took years. Years of trying, of praying, of feeling like we might never have a family. But then, when our firstborn arrived, it was like a miracle. Every challenge we faced felt worth it." Mr. Smith's voice wavered as he continued. "We celebrated the little things, you know? When our son got married, we held hands so tight. And when our youngest became a doctor, we cried together with joy. We never needed much, just each other. That's how it was for us. If she was happy, I was happier. If she was sad, I was even sadder. Our lives were connected like that." Tears began to gather in Mr. Smith's eyes, and Nicholas felt his throat tighten in response. "About 10 years ago, I got cancer. I was scared, but my wife, oh, she was my rock. She held my hand through every doctor's visit, every chemo session, every sleepless night. We prayed together, cried together, and eventually, I beat it. I survived because of her strength. We survived together." There was a long pause before Mr. Smith spoke again, his voice trembling now with the weight of his sorrow. "But now she's gone. And Nicholas, it's the most painful thing I've ever felt. Losing her. It's like losing a part of myself. But you know what? I'm thankful. Thankful that she went first." Nicholas was confused for a moment. "Why?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Because even though she was the stronger one, I don't know how she would have survived this pain. I wouldn't want her to go through what I'm going through now. As much as it hurts me, I'm glad it's me feeling this and not her. She deserved to leave this world in peace, without this heartbreak. And I know I'll see her again one day. That gives me hope." Nicholas felt a lump in his throat as he looked at Mr. Smith, who wiped away a tear and smiled softly. "Cherish the people you love, Nicholas," he said, placing a gentle hand on the boy's shoulder. "Life is full of struggles, but it's also full of blessings. Celebrate the little moments and hold on to them. In the end, it's the love you share that matters the most." The young boy nodded, his heart both warmed and heavy. He would never forget Mr. Smith's story, a reminder that love, though powerful and beautiful, could also be fragile and fleeting. And it taught him that sometimes the greatest strength is in letting go when you must, but holding on to the memories that love leaves behind. As they sat there in silence, the sun began to set, casting a golden glow on the world around them. a reminder that even in the darkest times, there was still light. Subscribe for new short story every day that lift your spirit and help you learn English.